And Doc.
What's up? This guy. I swear, if I have to hear the word chew one more time, I'm going to freaking lose it.
Yeah. Well, we both saw the recent Looney movie, the day the Earth blew up. Uh,
Yeah.
a movie about everyone's what I thought were everyone's favorite characters, the Looney Tunes, except yeah, maybe not anymore. What I'm kind of
Except for
worried
the
about in
people who
terms of
own the
this
rights
movie's
to them,
box
yeah.
office is I'm worried that characters that were incredibly popular and relevant when I was a kid, today's kids don't seem to give a shit about. Makes me feel like I'm an old fogey.
Yeah, as well as myself. I mean, you go calling yourself old. My dad is still like a bit of a fan of Looney Tunes. Well, he's not an active viewer, but he considers Bugs Bunny to be pretty much the king of cartoons.
Oh yes, he is, who unfortunately does not appear in this movie, and that's kind of an interesting thing about this flick is the fact that only three Looney Tunes actually appear in it: Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, and Petunia Pig. Petunia Pig is a very obscure character who she does date back to 1937, so she has been around for a long time, but she's never really gotten much
Oh.
traction in terms of being a famous cartoon character.
Okay, yeah, I was kind of wondering when I was watching this, is this an original character or is it something that has been decades long in the medium? Yeah, in media.
Right.
And might I say, kind of starting off, I think that Petunia Pig might be possibly my favorite character. Like, she's not the funniest. Like, Daffy Duck is probably the funniest character out of all of them, but and I'll get to those reasons later. But Petunia Pig, one thing that made her pretty like relatable for me is the fact that of how that she was like pretty much a outstander when it comes to public opinion of a certain piece of media, or in this case it being like gum, because as somebody who seems to a lot of times feel alone when it comes to movie opinions, like feels like sometimes I'm the only person to dislike modern Marvel movies or Star Wars movies or
You're not the
Disney
only
live
person to
action
dislike those
remakes.
movies.
Yeah,
Not
I
even
know, but like in my in-person circles is what I mean. Whereas Petunia Pig, she is pretty much like the only person, at least in the immediate circles that we see in this movie, to actively like dislike and criticize the bubblegum flavor, which isn't even like a new flavor.
Yeah, that's kind of a new thing they did with her character. And harkening back to the classic Looney Tunes, Porky Pig and Daffy Duck both have the same voice actor in this movie, just as they did in the original shorts. Both characters were voiced by the legendary Mel Blanc.
Wait, Mel Blanc came back for the role in this movie? Or wait, no, no,
Mel
no.
Blanc,
Sorry. You said that they had the same one back then, but now with Mel Blanc is
yeah,
dead, right?
also voiced by the same actor. Mel Blanc's been dead for 35 years, dude. 37 years.
Sorry, derp. My bad.
Yeah, yeah. If he lended his voice to this movie, it would be quite remarkable.
It'd be somebody pulling a Christopher Lee for his part.
Yeah, which actually they actually have used archival audio from Mel Blanc to produce newer Looney Tunes cartoons in the 2000s. They actually was this one computer animated Looney Tunes short done in 3D, and it actually did use archival audio that Mel Blanc recorded before his death that wasn't used.
Yeah.
So that has happened before, but obviously they did not have enough archival audio to make this movie on. And,
Not even for a little cameo.
well, that probably was a minor criticism I had is why are they the only three Looney Tunes to appear in this movie? I kind of feel like other characters could have fit in this movie. Like when they show France at the end, why was Pepe Le Pew not there? When they should have shown Mexico under the play of the Chew, and there should have been Speedy Gonzalez there. You know, they could have like thrown. or they should come to a barnyard and had Foghorn Leghorn say, I say, chew, chew, that is.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely was an interesting choice. It would have definitely upgraded the quality of the movie more if we had somebody that was as articulate, classy, and witty as that of Bugs Bunny. But instead, we have this one loony, just erratic dork that being Daffy Duck, and this one barely comprehensible stick in the mud that being Porky.
And what's interesting about the way this movie portrayed Daffy Duck is he has his personality is very much his old personality from like his very first shorts. When the character was created by both Tex Avery and Bob Clampett back in 1937, it's kind of the reason why he's called Daffy Duck is because he's fucking Daffy. He's out of his mind. So he's bouncing around, go woo 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 woo,
right,
and bouncing off the wall. He's bouncing off the walls, insane. But that ultimately did not become his more dominant personality going forward, because by the 50s, by the early 50s, kind of when Chuck Jones really started taking over as being dominant producer of Looney Tunes, Daffy's personality went kind of slowly took a change where he's kind of just an asshole. He's a borderline a villain who kind of just is kind of a vindictive, jealous creep who kind of always scheming, often jealous of Bugs Bunny, or often very greedy, and oftentimes these negative traits would literally blow up in his face.
And oftentimes a bit of a cynic about life and these plans and shenanigans that the characters around him might be trying to get everybody in.
Yeah. Shoot him now. Shoot him now. You stay out of this. He doesn't have to shoot me now. I say he doesn't have to shoot me now.
So I take it that's
fire. Like literally his kind of greed and petulance would often get the better of him. And he was kind of like a villainous foil then, which is very different from his original personality, where he was just fucking insane. And what I liked about and that became the most prominent version of Daffy for pretty much several decades. But whereas this movie brings Daffy back to his roots of just being a fucking lunatic.
And I take it that that's something that you actually kind of liked about this movie.
Yeah, I did actually. I found Daffy just going insane and being out of his mind, kind of funny. And spoilers, I like how that essentially Daffy and Porky's actions in this movie did absolutely nothing to save the world, because the world was already being saved, and all they did was fuck it up and then fix their fuck up later. And I think that actually makes this movie much funnier.
Yeah, that was definitely a welcome twist. The way that what was pulled into towards the end there. The alien was actually a benevolent good guy. It was a benevolent alien.
Right.
And speaking of which, I find the reasoning as to why that he wants to save Earth, like there were like two pop culture references that I mainly remember in this movie. And the one right now is the boba reference. Like that pop culture reference actually got a little bit of a laugh out of me. Like he worships this drink like it's the nectar of the gods or something. But the twerking pop culture reference, that kind of made me cringe for the most part. Although I guess it did kind of
funny actually, because that even in the spirit of classic Looney Tunes, because the old Looney Tunes shorts had pop culture references at the time as well. We don't really notice them today because often they go over people's heads. For example, Bugs Bunny's personality was actually based on a Clark Gable character. A lot of Bugs' mannerisms and munching on the carrot was based on a character Clark Gable played, who's like always munching on a carrot. And he kind of speaks in a similar Mel Blanc actually based Bugs Bunny on that Clark Gable character, for example.
Okay.
So that actually felt, and it's a little bit of adult humor, which the Looney Tunes always had. The Looney Tunes always had adult humor. They were not originally made exclusively for kids. They were produced these short films like before adult movies. So like someone going to see like the latest a John Wayne movie or what have you would have a little Looney Tunes cartoon short appear before. They laugh a little bit, and then the proper movie would play right after. That's how it usually worked back then.
Yeah, and speaking of adult jokes and a kind of a political joke too, I think the one joke that got the biggest gut bust out of me was when that Daffy he like escapes his area that he was being confined to or relegated to by Porky for laying eggs. When he finally catches up with them, he's all like, "Do you know how hard it is for a male duck to lay eggs?"
Yeah, that was funny because obviously I'm like thinking, how the hell is Daffy gonna lay eggs? He's a male duck.
That's what I was thinking too. But then they pulled that one on us to show, hey, yeah, we're self-aware right now, and I almost feel like
that's Looney Tunes. It's not supposed to make sense, you know.
Yeah, I also feel like that kind of played a little bit into like the trans debate too, like poking a little bit of fun about how that people don't understand basic biology on that front, you know.
Yeah, that got a good laugh out of me too. I really like this movie. I'll definitely say it's the best Looney Tunes movie ever made. It's really the first fully animated Looney Tunes movie that's based entirely on original material. Back in the 70s and early 80s, there were kind of a series of quote unquote Looney Tunes movies that were released, but they basically were essentially clip shows. What those were is they took kind of much older shorts from like decades prior, and then they kind of added new animation to kind of like string them together and to a narrative. The movies like Daffy's Quackbusters or the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie. That's essentially what they did. They tried to like clip those shorts and like create kind of a loose story around them. And of course you have the live action mixes like Space Jam, Looney Tunes Back in Action. And they also have an appearance in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I guess if you count Who Framed Roger Rabbit as a Looney Tunes movie, that would be the best. But I mean, the Looney Tunes are in it, but they're not like main characters, so probably doesn't count.
I definitely agree that Who Framed Roger Rabbit is better. Is that movie was it made by Warner Brothers Animation?
No, it was made by Disney. Spielberg was able to license the Looney Tunes over from Warner Brothers Animation to appear in it.
Okay,
so that's why. But you know that Mel Blanc's last appearance voicing the Looney Tunes prior to his death was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He died only a few months after it came out.
Oh, rest in peace.
You see his gravestone? It's amazing. Let me find it. Well, hold on.
I'm just curious of who the director is. Robert Zemeckis. Okay. I take it that Steven Spielberg was just an executive producer for Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Okay. He is executive producer of a lot of movies, and quite a handful of director of quite a handful of movies too.
There I got. Let's see. How do I screen share this thing?
What was I going to say? Oh, the other political joke that got a crack out of me was the one of where that Porky Pig asks Daffy, "You know what we need to do?" And Daffy's all like, "Wait for another stimulus check." Nice reference and poking jab at the stimulus checks broadly in general, both at Trump and Biden for that matter. It's like Daffy just wants to be a lousy bum, whereas Porky Pig, being the straight-laced man of the two of them, he's all like, "No, we need to get off our own asses."
Yeah, here's Mel Blanc's gravestone. That's all, folks.
Quite a way to go out. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Mel Blanc. Yeah, that's one of my favorite gravestones ever. He actually requested that be put in his grave before he died. That's all, folks.
What did they put on? I know a little bit of a whiplash, but what did they put on Judith Barcy's gravestone? Will I ever see you again?
No, they put in yep on it.
Oh, okay. That Yeah, that's more uplifting.
Yeah. But
Um,
was it done? And of course, I think Bugs Bunny's first appearance in official media, not voiced by Mel Blanc, was actually in a very lovely propaganda film from the early '90s. People of my generation remember it. It was shown to us in school. It was it was an introduction by President Bush at the time. It was produced in 1990, and it's all about avoiding drugs. And you have a bunch of cartoon characters from a variety of different studios, from Disney, Warner Brothers, Turner Animation. I think like 6 different rights holders all contributed their cartoons. Garfield's there, who all come to try to tell this kid to get off marijuana. So I taught kids of my generation that if I smoked pot, all my favorite cartoon characters would come and visit me.
okay. I'm not seeing specifically Looney Tunes, but I guess this is like a collaboration of multiple cartoons, not just Bugs
Cartoon
Bunny.
All Stars to the rescue. Looney Tunes were in it though.
Okay. For some reason, I thought there was an individual one for each individual franchise.
But I do believe that's the first official appearance of Bugs Bunny where he's not voiced by Mel Blanc.
Yeah.
Who voiced the character for 48 years before his passing.
Right.
And the other Looney Tunes. I think one of the things that shows how talented the guy was, there's this one cartoon where in front of Elmer Fudd, Daffy comes dressed up as Bugs Bunny, and Bugs Bunny goes out dressed as Daffy Duck. And they both kind of imitate each other. And that's amazing that not only could he voice these 2 characters, he could voice each of these characters pretending to be another character of his. That is some like impressive talent.
Joshua W56 in the live chat, hello by the way, he asks, when's it releasing in Ireland? And I told him that I don't think it is because there's a very limited release.
I think it might. That's one thing I wanted to get into. The movie's release has been very limited. It was a plan for HBO Max, but for some reason, when David Zaslav took over Warner Brothers, he didn't want to screen it, and they were planning on. There was some talk of even shelving this movie for a tax credit, and it made me wonder if this movie was bad or to be ashamed of. But then the reviews started coming out saying it's positive, and I saw it. I thought this movie's pretty damn good. Why did Warner Brothers basically sell it off to like a third-party distributor to Ketchup Entertainment, and it released with almost no promotion? So very few people even knew it was coming out. So I'm not too surprised it did badly just from that. But also, even if it had been given a marketing push, it is true that it probably still wouldn't have done fantastic because I just don't think the Looney Tunes are as popular with today's kids as they were when I was a kid.
Unless if it's attached to a popular celebrity like LeBron James, right?
Yeah, but even then, Space Jam 2 also flopped, but it was released during the height of the pandemic, so everything flopped at that time.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen Space Jam 2 just because of my disdain for LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll pass too. I mean, Space Jam, the first Space Jam was kind of cringy enough as it was, but it was an okay watch. So I can only imagine that the second one is like even worse.
From what I read on the reviews, it is worse. Between them, Looney Tunes Back in Action, which also didn't do very well at the box office back in 2003, it is better than Space Jam, but it's also got some problems as a movie. And also, the humor in it is kind of annoyingly meta, where it just kind of references how old these characters are, and like, yeah, you can, and it's almost like these characters trying to like regrow their roots. What I like about the day the Earth blew up is it didn't bother with any of that crap. It just plays this straight up like it's another long 90-minute Looney Tunes story, like the good old days.
Yeah. What did you think of Farmer Jim, by the way?
I thought that character was funny.
I thought he was kind of too. I mean, he was a kind of a bargain bin Mufasa type of character where he like pops out in the clouds as a cloud entity, but he's still funny with of how that for the most part, he was like one art style. Like he was a frozen still image from a child's like 12-page kid's book or something like that, with only his mouth and eyes moving on occasion. And then there's like the one part of when that he like gets to the end of the walkway, about to jump into the lake, where it's like a normal animation style, as if it's supposed to show like some kind of significance to this character, that he's almost like godlike, or like literally a father figure for our two main protagonists, Porky and
in this
Daffy.
movie are kind of like adopted brothers. Actually, there's never really any kind of continuity between Looney Tunes shorts, so ultimately the characters meet each other for the first time several times. They often have conflicting backstories, conflicting personalities, but that was the nature of things at the time. Nobody who produced these shorts were trying to fold any kind of like larger narrative. They were just kind of like a vintage little short that they could put in front of movies in order to get extra ticket buyers, add more value to the show. Not only do we have a movie, we also got this cartoon you can watch before it.
I will say that they were pretty serviceable for protagonists, and that, and I guess there was an okay arc of, two friends. One of them is the straight-laced guy. The other one is the totally loose cannon character. And the loose cannon character kind of tests the trust of the straight-laced guy at the beginnings of the movie, and then by the second act, the loose cannon like screws up big time, to where that the straight-laced guy is all like, no, I'm done with you, go away, and then they make up again. I mean, I guess it's like a little bit too much of a tired trope storyline, which but at the same time, I don't think it really adds nor subtracts from the movie with the way that it is played out. I will say that the moments of when this movie was trying to be a little bit overly serious with some of the dramatic moments, that is kind of when the movie slogged in the pacing just a little bit for me.
I don't know, because I don't really think it ever was really that serious. Like even in moments where they're like making up, they all start crying to such a ridiculous degree that it still becomes kind of a joke.
Oh, I wasn't talking about them crying like rivers full of tears for them to bust the cage open. I mean like slow moments of when that Porky and Petunia kind of sit down and have these long and kind of boring conversations. I don't know. It wasn't much of an attention grabber for me. I was more like enjoying the slapstick and the humorous dialogue of the movie. Yeah. And the funny Farmer Jim character, and the funny handsome devil scientist guy whenever he was not being manipulated by the goo, and also the wacky alien character. And might I just say, I don't know if you saw my short review of the movie, but what was kind of pleasantly surprising to me was of how that there was almost these kind of eldritch horror kind of elements added in with the goo, the zombie gum goo stuff that everybody was eating to get possessed by the alien. Whenever that he needed the goo to evolve so as to fight back against Daffy and Porky a little bit better, out of their mouths, the people who are possessed would like be these like full-on arms and legs that would pop out. And Petunia, when she finally got possessed by the gum, she just became this giant troll of a brute that finally took down Daffy and Porky. And it was for a kids movie, it was kind of good, I thought.
I thought it was hilarious. I mean, them going like insane with over the top gruesome animation, but all ultimately for slapstick. It's all fantastic. This movie was made for $15 million. Really, animated movies don't need like $100 million plus budgets. If you got a talented crew and talented voice actors, you can make really good stuff with a relatively modest budget. But
you need to promote the freaking thing is the thing.
Yes,
right.
You need to promote the thing, and the fact that this movie only had like a $3 million opening weekend is kind of sad. People who went to see it were photographing their theaters, showing like that no one else was there, and they were watching it alone, which I didn't. Thankfully, I did see a family with kids in the theater I saw it in, so very, very good. But and it seems like it's actually picking up. Like it seems like it's made more in its second weekend than it has in its first weekend, which is very, very rare for movies. Most of the time, a movie's first weekend is where you get the majority of its box office, and it's all downhill from there. That's the norm. So even if this movie doesn't end up making a profit in the long run, it's guaranteed to at least lose a lot less money than Snow White did.
Yeah, and probably less money than War of the Rohirrim. What do you think of that possibility?
It actually might make a profit because it's made about $9 million so far, and it's only opened in Australia and in the United States. If it gets releases in a bunch of international markets, and then from video sales, given that they've spent almost nothing promoting this movie, they might actually turn a small profit on it.
Okay.
But it's tight. It's certainly not a big success.
I don't think I heard any China jabs, so China might actually accept the movie in their country.
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, not crediting China, just saying.
Yeah, they could have. I mean, remember a lot of older cartoons did China jabs.
Oh, really?
Some of them were so old that they dated before the communists even took over China.
Tell me about these cartoons. Actually, now I'm curious.
Yeah, I watched one where Daffy was in Hong Kong. Daffy Duck in Hong Kong. I remember he eats this food and it's like super hot, and a basic Looney Tunes cartoon.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was something that was actually making fun of the Chi-Coms for some reason.
No, they've never really. Well, I won't say they've never been political, because during World War II, certainly Looney Tunes got very political. A lot of them were just straight up war propaganda.
Oh yeah,
Funny hitting Hitler with a mallet.
Yeah, I just saw the Ductators a little bit earlier in my YouTube search here.
And that was common from other studios as well. Disney cartoons at the time also did that. MGM's also did that.
Yeah.
Actually, Disney's actually were the best, in my opinion. A lot of like Warner Brothers and MGM ones were just kind of goofy cartoons with Nazi imagery, whereas Disney like made this one cartoon that their older Chicken Little, not confused with the 2005 one from the 40s, that actually is kind of a serious and dark cartoon about the dangers of political propaganda, and I highly recommend that one.
Chicken Little Nazis.
Well, the book the Fox uses early on was going to read Mein Kampf on it, but Disney actually changed it. He wanted it to be more timeless, but the message is still there.
Chicken Little World War II propaganda cartoon.
Yeah.
I think I might have found it. I'm gonna put that on my watch later list.
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah, there's and of course some of them with the Japanese were hilarious. I mean, definitely wouldn't fly in today's politically correct environment. Like those one I remember,
freaking Popeye the Sailor. Like they were just straight up caricatures the way that they portrayed the Japanese. They were like these short little guys with eyes that were practically closed and these massive like front teeth.
Yes, there was one called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Coal Black and the Seven Dwarfs, which was a parody of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, filled with a lot of racial stereotypes. But in one of the jokes in it, there's this truck and it says on it, "Murder Express will kill anyone for $1. Midgets half price, Japs free." I'm like, man, that joke definitely would not fly today.
Yeah,
it was made during the war, so that was kind of the cultural zeitgeist.
The thing is that wait, was that movie like, or that short actually taking place during World War II era? I thought it was older than that.
Yeah, it kind of was, but ultimately, it was made by Bob Clampett. And as I said, it's a parody of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But the evil queen is like this really obese black woman voiced by Mel Blanc. So White is, yeah,
Wow.
so White is like this stereotyped attractive woman, and she's kidnapped by Murder Express, and she literally gets out of it just by kissing them all. You can see a bunch of kiss marks on their face. Why she just banged them all in order for them to let her go? God damn, that cartoon was outrageous, but yeah, it is outrageous as hell, but funny.
Coal Black and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yes.
Restoration.
Yeah, that was one of the censored 11 cartoons, ones that were kind of like so full of racist jokes that they couldn't be shown after the civil rights era, and they pretty much were never shown on television anymore. You only like animation historians are able to find archives of them online.
Yeah. Like there's this one, I guess it's kind of a racist caricature of Native Americans called Injun Joe. And it's funny of how that actually nowadays is now people are looking at it as like a Chad representation of Native Americans with of how super strong he is, and he like scares the shit out of bears for fun and so forth. Yeah. I don't know if you ever saw.
Yeah, there's kind of a similar. Some people in there thought like Speedy Gonzalez was too stereotypical, and they removed him from syndications. And the biggest outrage against that were from Mexicans. A lot of Mexicans loved Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah, how that actually people have like reclaimed the caricature now to where that they love it. It's beloved.
Oh yeah, he's a caricature, he's a stereotype, but he's a cartoon, and he was a lovable stereotype. Everyone loves Speedy Gonzalez, the fastest mouse in Mexico.
Yeah. Although I will say that in my personal my personal experience, like just totally personal experience, from what I've seen anyways, Latin Americans seem to be have a little bit more of a self-deprecation humor side of them. At least a higher percentage of them than black people or even Asians for that matter, when it comes to like racial jokes, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe that's I wonder why that is, but
to an extent, like, but there's a lot of people who like say with like old racist cartoons that they're saying if you censor them, you're basically like pretending like these stereotypes never existed at all. Thus, it's necessary for history to preserve them, and I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, you know what is like one of the most baffling like criticisms of old cartoons that I have ever seen is people calling like the crows from Dumbo like racist caricatures, and I'm thinking to myself,
oh, they definitely were, and I even did a joke on that in my Dumbo review. But you remember the joke I did? Wonder why these characters didn't want to show up, and I play a clip from them like, no idea, it's a mystery.
Yeah. I guess it's been a while. Okay, I start to rewatch the video and then I like did not finish the rest of it on my most recent rewatch of it. But anyway, I guess they are kind of based off of stereotypes of how that white people like viewed black people, but they weren't like the most offensive of racist caricatures. And plus, I'm kind of with the nostalgia critic a bit to say that they had class to them. They had like wit and had some smooth personalities to them. Personalities.
In fact, when I see an elephant fly, it's one of my favorite Disney songs. I love that. I love that too. Yeah. I seen all that too. I seen a peanut stand, heard a rubber band. I seen a needle that winked its eye. But I deemed a scene about everything when I see an elephant fly. Yeah.
I guess the most offensive part about alleged about them is their over-exaggerated way of talking.
Well, one of them is named Jim Crow. Uh-huh.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. So that's there, but it seems like a lot of kids today don't really watch them because another recent announcement is that Max removed all the Looney Tunes cartoons from service, and they've been dumped on Tubi for free with ads.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Which
So I guess they're not out of the media zeitgeist entirely. It's just they're not on HBO Max anymore.
right, and the fact that they felt the need to dump them on a free service instead of like keeping them on paid service just shows that they don't view them as much of a draw for people to get. Which also is a good example. Collect physical media, people. If you do, because if you don't have a physical copy of it, you do not have it. Over about like 320, 30, something like that, Looney Tunes shorts are out on Blu-ray, and there's another collection of 50 additional shorts out in June. Buy the Blu-rays if you want them.
Yeah. Or the 4K Ultra HDs.
What's that?
Or the 4K Ultra HDs.
Currently, there aren't any.
Oh, okay. Of the Warner Brothers movies specifically, you mean?
Of the old Looney Tunes cartoons, no, there are no 4K discs.
Okay.
The 4K Blu-ray release for Space Jam. That's pretty much it.
Okay. By the way, speaking of Space Jam, if I had to give my own personal ranking of Warner Brothers animated full-length movies that I personally have seen, I have to say that I would personally rank this movie right below Cats Don't Dance, which is right below Iron Giant, and above Space Jam, and I think that's all the Warner Brothers.
No, I definitely like this movie more than Cats Don't Dance. I mean, obviously, it's not as good as the Iron Giant. That's not a standard. That's not a fair standard for anything. That's one of the best movies of all time.
Well, The Day the Earth Blew Up was definitely more funny than Cats Don't Dance, but I guess I just found the story flow to be a little bit more easy to get into as opposed to The Day the Earth Blew Up.
Honestly, Cats Don't Dance is a decent animated movie, but I find the main character, Danny, kind of boring and kind of annoying. The only thing that makes that movie decent are the villain. I find the Shirley Temple parody villain to be fucking hilarious.
And not to mention the music pieces.
Oh yeah. The end music piece where where they're having that song period and she tries to sabotage it but makes it better. That whole sequence is fucking hilarious. I loved it when I was a kid. It's still pretty goddamn funny. So
yep.
I do like some things in Cats Don't Dance, but it's not a great movie. Whereas in terms of Looney Tunes movies, I'd probably give Space Jam a 5 out of 10. I'd give Looney Tunes Back in Action a 7 out of 10, and I'd give The Day the Earth Blew Up an 8 out of 10. So I definitely view it as the best Looney Tunes movie.
Wait, Back in Action. What do you say? You kind of broke up there. What do you rank it?
I'd give it about 7 out of 10.
I
thought it was pretty good.
Space Jam Back in Action?
No, Looney Tunes Back in Action from 2003.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I haven't seen that one. Wasn't the Space Jam sequel called Space Jam Back in Action?
No, that one came out in 2021.
Okay.
25 years after the first Space Jam, and that's no Space Jam New Legacy.
Now I'm curious because I know that it doesn't technically call itself Space Jam 2. It calls itself Space Jam something or other.
A New Legacy, yeah.
A New Legacy. Damn it. Okay. I'm forgetting the surname of it. My bad.
Yeah, Looney Tunes Back in Action is definitely a little better than Space Jam. But mostly because it felt like the creators understood the sense of humor of the Looney Tunes better than Space Jam did. With Space Jam, it mostly just feels like a promotion vehicle for Michael Jordan more than it feels like a Looney Tunes movie. The Looney Tunes are very superficial. It basically just, they say a few of their catchphrases, they do a couple things they do, but it's almost like somebody who's just watched a couple shorts and pieces of bits together, but really didn't understand the humor of the original Looney Tunes shorts. Back in Action feels like it has a much better understanding, and there are a couple really funny sequences in it.
And plus, it has Brendan Fraser in it. I'm just seeing right now.
Yeah. Plus, damn good thing that Michael Jordan could play ball better than he could act, man. I mean, the guy was an amazing athlete, but the guy cannot act.
Yep. That seems to be like the stereotypical thing with a lot of actors, or excuse me, sports stars who get into acting. I mean, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James. Who else can we name? But you get my point, though. Sports stars, generally speaking, don't make good actors.
In Space Jam was even green lit because of a series of Nike commercials starring Michael Jordan and Looney Tunes, and they basically
Hulk Hogan. That's another one I just thought of. Sorry.
Yeah, they made a few commercials starring those characters, and since those commercials did well, they made a movie based on those. So essentially, Space Jam is as commercialized a product as it comes.
Yeah,
that doesn't make it a bad movie. There are a couple good gags. I kind of like the Pulp Fiction reference they do in one scene.
I don't know if I remember that.
Don't you remember where Yosemite Sam and Elmer fought in those Pulp Fiction outfits? That was a Pulp Fiction reference.
I think I vaguely remember it, but it's been years since I've watched that movie. And in fact, I did not care for it so much to where that I just gave it away as a white elephant gift last Christmas or 2 Christmases ago, something like that.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
All right. What's up, everybody? I'm the only one watching this very live stream right now. I'm so lonely, have no one but my own re, so lonely. In 1984, astronaut Dale Gardner performed an untethered spacewalk to capture the Wester 6 satellite. I don't know how he fit him in that spacesuit. Okay. Just somebody sharing a Facebook reel. On Facebook, I'm having Michael Edelstein recommended to me. In case none of y'all know who Michael Edelstein is, Michael Edelstein was is a therapist who's also a little bit of an ANCAP philosopher, I guess, who Nate the Voluntarist had interviewed a while ago. All right. Sorry,
yeah,
I was just
wondering if the reason why Warner Brothers doesn't care about Looney Tunes anymore. One reason is that they're pretty on the verge of entering the public domain. Porky Pig is 9 years old now, and Daffy Duck's only 2 years younger, and by 2036, even Bugs Bunny will be public domain.
Okay.
But the Looney Tunes have been Warner Brothers mascot for decades. Even movies that had nothing to do with them would have Bugs Bunny on the Warner Brothers logo for so many years.
Yeah. So you go mentioning Bugs Bunny about to enter the public domain. That would be the original design of him, not the more mid-century design that we're all used to.
Yeah, the first Bugs Bunny cartoon was from 1940.
Yeah, because I remember that there's 2 different animation styles of Bugs Bunny here. I wonder if I can Google up an image.
Right. Oh, there's a few different animation styles for Bugs Bunny. The more prominent one really came a bit later, but even that would be public domain within a decade after.
Evolution of Bugs Bunny. Can I pull this up bigger?
Whereas Disney still tries to exercise some control of Mickey Mouse, even though he's entered the first version of him has entered the public domain. Yet they still try to use trademark law to exercise some control over him. Whereas Warner Brothers, they just give a shit about the Looney Tunes. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you presenting me?
Let me do that now. Evolution of Bugs Bunny, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen those 2 very first designs that they have in this Axiom here, but that third one there was the one that I was thinking of.
Well, what actually is the first Bugs Bunny cartoon is actually a little bit murky because there was a rabbit character before 1940 that was also voiced by Mel Blanc, and the character kind of had a similar personality as the early version of Daffy in terms of he's just kind of nuts, bouncing off the walls, making a goofy laugh. But that character's kind of been like retconned. It wasn't named originally, but it's retconned as Happy Rabbit. Whereas the first true Bugs Bunny cartoon is considered to be the one that introduces Elmer Fudd hunting him in 1940.
Yeah. In that case, I'm definitely glad that they changed up the personality of Bugs Bunny. We can't have everybody being a carbon copy of each other's personalities.
Well, yeah, Mel Blanc kind of had the idea of taking that rabbit character and decided to change up his personality a bit to be less crazy and more just kind of like self-confident.
Yeah, be like a suave, witty guy.
Yeah,
like, what's up, Doc?
And renamed him Bugs Bunny. And that's essentially was the creation of the character, and the character was a hit, and is probably, I believe, voted by IGN, like in the survey they did with the audience, the best cartoon character of all time.
Oh, awesome! So he really is the king of all cartoons.
Yes.
Eat shit, Mickey Mouse. You're a pussy.
Well, I remember even when they in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, when him and Mickey are like skydiving together, and they're like, "Do you have a spare?" Like Mickey's like, "Bugs does," but I don't think you'll want it. Oh, the critters were talking. Yeah, but Mickey, he's nice and friendly. He wouldn't play a dirty trick on somebody, but Bugs would.
Yeah. Good old Bugs.
Bugs would definitely play a dirty trick on somebody. That was one of the best. Like one of my favorites, I forgot the name of the cartoon, the Jones directed one that had this kind of musician like go and kind of start shit. Bugs is just sitting there, and this musician like comes in and like conks him over the head, and Bugs like, "Of course you realize this means war."
Okay.
If Bugs never said that, it was going to go down.
Was that the one opera singer?
Yes. I love the one where he's like the conductor, lifts his hand up in the sky, he never brings it down, and the guy for some reason can't help but keep singing until he's like suffocating.
Yeah.
There's even like Bugs even leaves the glove in the air and it just floats there magically.
They don't make cartoons like that anymore.
Yeah, don't fuck with Bugs Bunny.
I've seen tons of Facebook reels like that. People just being nostalgic about classic cartoons from the 60s and before that. Being all like, they just don't make cartoons like this anymore.
Well, often it's stuff that they got away with. They were a lot less PC back then. For example, how often do you see in like kids' cartoons characters pointing guns at each other?
Right. Well, I don't even think it's that really. I think it's more of how much more they delved into the slapstick of it all. Like somebody will just be cutting a board that's underneath them, and then it'll like detach from the building that they're constructing. And instead of them falling, the building will like topple over, and they're just floating there in the air on top of their board.
I remember there was a joke on that where Bugs Bunny looks at the camera and says, "I know you're going to say this defies the law of gravity, but I never studied that law."
Oh, so Bugs Bunny is a flat earther. Now I hate him.
Hey, one time he saved the world from Marvin Martian wanted to blow up the earth.
Right.
And I love why he does it for the stupidest reason possible. He says, "It obstructs my view of Venus."
Oh. Trying to think of Danger Duck.
On that, I remember when Putin was threatening people over if Ukraine struck deep into Russian territory. And of course, he didn't do anything. One meme people were posting was Marvin Martian in that scene. Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
Wow. What do you think of like Danger Duck though? The old cartoon where that Daffy Duck is like a Flash Gordon-esque type of character?
You mean Duck Dodgers?
Duck Dodgers. Why did I say Danger Duck? Duck Dodgers. Goes to show my own culture.
Yeah, that was It was a parody of Buck Rogers. Yeah. And
I gotta give that a rewatch. I remember playing some Flash games of based off of Duck Dodgers back in the day when Adobe Flash was still a thing.
Had his personality in the Chuck Jones form, and mostly that Daffy's a fucking asshole in that show, and that's kind of how he always was.
So basically, he was being like a what was the Captain Kirk parody character in Futurama?
Zap Brannigan.
Yeah, so he was a Zap Brannigan in that show.
Yeah, but that started in the 50s. There was a cartoon, I think 53, Duck Dodgers of the 24th and a half century, and the cartoon was popular, so they kind of brought back Daffy in that form a few times. A couple in the 80s, Tiny Toons did a send up of that. They had Daffy as Duck Dodgers, and they had Plucky Duck as kind of like his sidekick in it.
Yeah.
You'd rather remember Tiny Toons. We're tiny, we're toony, we're all little loony.
I have seen a few episodes of that. One of them, God, I can't remember which character it was, but one of the characters was screwed over Taz by trading him. It's such a faint memory. I have seen full episodes of that, but I guess it wasn't that good to where that I found it worth being a close memory of mine.
Oh, Tiny Toons was great. I watched it as a kid all the time. The animated direct-to-video movie, How I Spent My Summer Vacation, is fantastic. It really understood the comedy, rude, and pain. What they do with Plucky in that is fucking hilarious. He wants to go to this amusement park, and only his friend Hampton and their family are going there. So he sticks around for them to go on vacation, and it's a vacation from hell where everything goes wrong. They're incredibly obnoxious. They sing all the time. And one scene that is unbelievably funny. They pick up a hitchhiker on the side of the road, and the guy literally looks like Jason Voorhees. He has a chainsaw and a ski mask on. And they find out later he's an escaped killer. Plucky's has to sit next to him in the back seat. And he's chasing around him inside the car with a goddamn chainsaw. I'm like, this is sadistic, and I love it.
As we all love Warner Brothers for their sense of humor.
Yeah, I thought the Spielberg produced cartoons of the 90s, Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, and Pinky and the Brain kind of captured the humor of the old Warner Brothers cartoons better than any other cartoon in the 90s did.
But speaking of 90s cartoons, though, what's your opinion of Lunatics Unleashed?
Which one?
I don't know if you're seeing me present, right? But it's where that the Looney Tune characters are a bunch of black-clad superheroes.
I don't know if I've ever watched that one. I remember there was one Looney Tunes cartoon in the 90s. Besides Tiny Toons, there was Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries. That one was okay.
Was it like a Sherlock Holmes type of cartoon?
Kinda. That Granny would travel from place to place with Sylvester and Tweety and Butch the dog in their background. Sylvester predictably would always try to eat Tweety in every episode, and would always fail by other circumstances, and they'd always encounter some kind of strange happening wherever they went. It was an okay show. Well, it was never the best, but it had a few laughs.
I think I have seen a few episodes of that. I remember this one episode of Bugs Bunny of where that he was a bullfighter.
I think he's been a bullfighter a few times.
Okay. I can't remember which one specifically. I guess this goes to show of how little that I have devoted my time time and investment into Warner Brothers. If I'm just remembering vague memories, I remember mostly the orchestra one of where that where that he's trying to screw over the opera singer because apparently he wants to play his own instruments. The opera singer keeps on telling him to shut the F up because he is trying to practice for the upcoming opera show that he's going to put on. And then the opera show starts, and there's a regular orchestra conductor, and Bugs Bunny is dressed up like an aristocrat, and he's just sneaking up behind him, and everybody mistakes him for some famous conductor named Leopold.
That cartoon is hilarious. That is one of the funniest ones of all of them. Honestly, though, like Tex Avery was kind of a creator of Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny. He actually did most of his best work after he left Warner Brothers. He kind of left Warner Brothers in the early 40s, and he did a lot of shorts for MJM. Created like Mick Wolf and Droopy the dog for them. And honestly, some of those are some of the best. Like I'd probably say my favorite cartoon short of all time is one he did for MJM called Red Hot Riding Hood.
Oh, I was about to ask about that one. Yeah, I had seen like one of the, or at least it was a clip compilation of Red Hot Riding Hood.
Oh, I love that meme of him whistling at that chick. I remember I've even gotten laid before by posting that clip and like under a chick's photo on Facebook. So I highly recommend that. But beyond that, the whole cartoon is really damn funny. There's
I remember if I find a girl like she's looking smoking hot in a cowboy outfit, I'll just post a picture of Red Hot Riding Hood in her cowboy outfit.
Mick Wolf reacting to her where he just starts whistling, going nuts, which is more. What I love about it is that he's now more of a wolf in the metaphorical sense. Like men on the town are just a bunch of sex crazed wolves. I think, watching a lot of Tex Avery's cartoons, a gag where a male character will see like an attractive woman and go nuts over it is very common, which made me think that Tex Avery probably had poon on his brain quite a bit. Yeah. I would guess by watching his cartoons that he was a horny motherfucker.
Yep.
They even there was even one I actually found out where you see like, as a joke, about the parodies nature documentaries. You know how lizards kind of shed their skin? Well, where this Tex Avery directed short, the lizard stands up and they literally traced over like the dance routine of a stripper with the lizard taking its skin off in a similar way. I'm like, that is hilarious.
Were they intentionally trying to make it look like a stripper, or was he just using that as reference?
Absolutely, they were. As I said, these cartoons were not made exclusively for children. They never were.
Wait, so was it like a lizard that was designed to look like a sexy female?
It starts off looking like a regular lizard, and then it stands up and starts doing the dance left and right. That's the joke. Because again, it's a parody of like a nature documentary.
Tex Avery nature documentary parody.
I forgot the exact name of the cartoon.
Looney Tunes Wacky Wildlife 1940.
I think that's it, yeah.
Okay. Put that on my watch later list too.
But yeah, Red Hot Riding Hood. And the end, I love where he's like, I'm fed up. I'm through with women. Why? I'll kill myself if I even look at another babe. Then Riding Hood appears on stage. He shoots himself in the head because suicide is hilarious, obviously. And his ghost then starts whistling after her.
Wow. Was that supposed to be the wolf, or what character was that supposed to be?
Nick Wolf was the character.
Okay.
He also created Droopy for MJM, and Droopy is one of my favorites. The whole deadpan thing, like, you know what, I'm happy.
Oh, Droopy Dog. Isn't that the guy who serves sometimes as a villain for Roger and Jessica Rabbit?
No, he never served as a villain. He wasn't Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He was just kind of as like a conductor of a of like the elevator going up, sir.
Oh,
Your
okay.
door, sir.
Actually, I'm thinking more specifically this one clip that I recently watched of where that Facebook being Facebook, they recommended a reel from it of where that Jessica Rabbit was like, save me, and she's just like bobbing her breasts in the air to get that obvious sex appeal going. And then I go looking up the skit, and it's just Roger Rabbit trying to trace down a baby. What's the full name of the baby?
Baby Herman. But after
Baby Herman.
Roger Rabbit was a hit, there were 3 additional shorts that were produced in like the decade after that aired before movies in the 90s that had kind of him chasing after Baby Herman, and they were kind of in the old Tex Avery style, and they were over the top and very silly.
Yeah,
and I think all 3 of those cartoons are really funny, and I highly recommend all of them. I believe they're on the Blu-ray as an extra.
Oh, really? The Who Framed Roger Rabbit Blu-ray?
Yeah, and they all end with like Roger walking out of a live action set the way he does in the beginning of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Him being all like, "Oh shucks, I screwed up. I'm sorry. Just do it again. Do it again. Give me another chance. I'll get it right this time."
I can take it. Don't worry about me. I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about the refrigerator.
Yeah.
I can give you stars. Look.
Those are birds, Roger.
Yeah. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is so many great gags. In Toontown, I remember I think the funniest gag there is if you look at the background of this of this bathroom is written on the wall. It says, for a good time, call Alice in Wonderland where dreams come true. I'm like, that is hilarious. But yeah, like I think like even like the Blu-ray sets that preserve those old cartoons, I have them, but I think only adult collectors really even buy them anymore. I don't know, but the average parent doesn't buy those things.
Yeah, I mean, most parents are now Zoom or active parents who are like actively raising children are Zoomers, anyways, and Zoomers are like even us millennials to a certain extent are very like tech obsessed, but Zoomers are even more so tech obsessed. Oh, why buy a streaming copy? Excuse me, a physical copy when I just got a streaming service?
Because if you don't have a physical copy, you do not own it. That's the reason. And because the Blu-ray is superior bit rates to any streaming service.
I actually have to search up this one video that my brother-in-law showed me. Let me something about rotting DVD epidemic. Send this video to you. But there was somebody who, somebody who was in the comment section and said pretty much the same sentiment that you did. Actually, I can't find it now. Funny how the YouTube comment section. Oh, wait. No, I just found it. I really get sick of but it's on stream and grandpa response to physical media. My reply is usually, and it won't be on there tomorrow, kid, but I'll still have my discs. Big companies have never been interested in archiving anything unless there's profit in it. The BBC famously wiped 20 to 30 years worth of programming back in the 70s, costing us a lot of classic Doctor Who episodes, nearly deleting Monty Python, but succeeding in deleting Spike Milligan's Q series, which is a comedy show to rival Python. And of course, there are unknown numbers of old movies that are just gone now because nobody cared.
Yes.
Unfortunate.
That is why beyond saying you should go see The Day the Earth Blew Up, you should also collect physical media, classic animation and classic movies in general, because particularly ones who preserve these shorts uncensored, because as I know that they're made at a different time when things were not as PC back then, and they're like a bit of history lost if you don't have them preserved uncensored.
Sorry, excuse me. Speaking of physical media, one thing that is becoming more vintage, which makes me feel old, is VHS tapes. And I should have probably like brought my own physical VHS tape copy of Pebble and the Penguin and brought that for Don Bluth to sign instead of my DVD copy of All Dogs Go to Heaven. In other news, everybody.
You met Don Bluth. That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
who gave me nightmares numerous times as a kid.
Yeah.
That Hellfire sequence in All Dogs Go to Heaven is fucking scary. What the hell?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I did not. I did see like bits and pieces of All Dogs, American Tail, and Land Before Time in my childhood. Full length, even at some points, but more in my childhood. In my childhood, what I more watched on repeat actually was Pebble and the Penguin, Titan AE, and Anastasia, because we did not have our own personal copy of the big three that are Don's greatest, or considered Don's greatest. That being, well, maybe not so much All Dogs, but All Dogs, Land Before Time, and American Tail. And I never had a physical copy
American
of
Tail and what was it? Land Before Time are the three best, and I kind of don't think Bluth ever really ever hit that kind of stride after. I'm sorry. Yeah. I respect Don Bluth, but his later movies, most of them weren't that good.
Yeah. I guess I could have brought a better movie, but All Dogs Go to Heaven, the 3 DVD set was like the only thing that I physically owned that he could have signed, and now it's worth more. I even like made the copy to him. You can like X out 2 and 3 if you want to, and I think I almost saw him like his smile vanish and him like shake his head just a little bit, like if for some reason he likes those 2 sequels better than the average Don Bluth fan does. Which I know that Don Bluth kind of has some weird opinions. I mean, fuck, he made Troll in Central Park, for example, but it's very weird to see him like kind of shake his head just a little bit at somebody saying or implying that All Dogs 2 and the Christmas Carol spinoff are bad by comparison to the first one.
I mean, he had nothing to do with those movies. He didn't have. I thought he seemed to like in his interview with Nostalgia Critic, he seemed to beg Universal to quit making Land Before Time sequels.
Oh, really? He had an interview with Nostalgia Critic? I'm gonna have to look this
up.
Yeah,
Nostalgia Critic had him on. Unfortunately, I don't have enough pull to get Don Bluth on my channel.
Right. Maybe I should have like told him, hey, I know this buddy named Loudmouth Reviews. Can you do an interview with him?
Yeah, I doubt I'd get that. I'd be like, if I had him on, I'd be like, why the hell do you give me nightmares as a kid with that Hellfire shit, man?
I wonder what it would have costed me, like $1,000.
I don't know. Like there's you have this scene where a bunch of puppies are singing a cute little song about the value of sharing, and the next scene, Charlie, you can never come back, and then and being sent to hell and being tortured by demons.
Yep.
Damn, that movie didn't fuck around. He didn't care if he gave kids nightmares.
Shut Up and Talk. Don Bluth and Gary Goldman Part 1 from Channel Awesome. I guess it's like an interview compilation. But yeah, he was pretty chill. Like I showed you the picture that I also took with Jim Cummings, and honestly, Jim Cummings was just
Oh, you met Jim Cummings? That's cool. Oh, yeah, he's a very talented fellow.
That was a picture. That was the picture that I sent you last weekend.
Oh shit! I must have missed that one. Nice.
Oh well, you acknowledged it. You said cool, but I guess you must have been kind of out of it at that moment. But yeah,
probably,
took a picture with Jim Cummings.
Been sleeping and probably just said, "Oh, dark on." Oh, cool.
Okay. Well, yeah, he just seemed like slightly on the grumpy side, but then again, he was getting off the heels of food poisoning, I heard. Don Bluth was more pleasant to talk to, aside from the fact that he kind of shook his head, at my you can X out the 2 and 3 on that DVD disc cover, by the way. But yeah, I told him about how that I really liked him working on Robin Hood, because that was one of my favorite Disney movies growing up. And despite I heard like I believe Just Stop is the name of the YouTube channel, but according to him, supposedly Don Bluth he wanted to disown Pebble and the Penguin, supposedly. And I told to Don Bluth, I know that you don't really care much for this movie of yours, but another movie that I grew up of on that is yours is Pebble and the Penguin. Like,
Devil and
just
the
Tim
Penguin is not that good of a movie. It's really not.
Well, maybe not, but still, like, but Tim Curry as Drake and the banter and bit between Hubie and Rocco, and of course the whale chase scene. Like, even now, watching like YouTube clips of it now, my adult years, it's still pretty intense. Is
Tim
what I
Curry,
told him.
yeah, I swear, like half the cartoon shows of the '90s had a villain that was voiced by either Tim Curry or by Tony J.
Right.
A lot of them. Those two guys are like the villains of my childhood.
Oh, come on, you
But
kidding me? Oh, sorry, Joshua W56 in the live chat. What's up, Joshua? Why are you saying you're kidding me on? Sorry, go on, Loudmouth.
Yeah, but back to there's another big controversy is there's a chance that Coyote versus Acme might be bought out by the same people who bought out The Day the Earth Blew Up, which is interesting because that was a higher budget production that Warner also weirdly wanted to shelve for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, this is a question that I wanted to ask earlier, actually. When did David Zaslav become president of Warner Brothers?
I think it was a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago.
Okay, so it's like well after
Discovery.
So it's like way late when the DCEU was just trying to finish up and close off their final products.
Right, and he's a ruthless cost cutter. Like he like ignores sunk costs and he'll just shelve projects if he doesn't think they're working.
Okay.
Not the biggest fan of the guy because look what the guy did to the Discovery networks. It's him who like turned from educational programming to shitty reality shows.
Oh, wow.
So I'm definitely not the biggest fan of him, but I also understand that the Looney Tunes doesn't have as much sway as he used to, and that's not really all his fault. The concept, though, of Coyote versus Acme is a pretty funny one. I don't know if the movie is actually any good, but the idea of Wile E. Coyote suing the Acme Corporation over their products constantly blowing up, that's a funny idea for a movie.
It's all like, what are you doing in the way that you are handling Suicide Squad and Batman versus Superman? I'm taking you to court.
Now, yeah, because Acme's products didn't seem very good for Wile E. Coyote, did they?
Okay, yeah, Acme, not Warner Brothers. My bad. I'm mixing up studios right now. But it would be funny if the
fictional Acme Corporation, which all the products Wile E. Coyote would use, say Acme on them.
Yeah.
Well,
what are
the
all
Acme
the
Corporation, in terms of evil corporations in the movie, stands alongside the Wayland U. Dundee Corporation and the Umbrella Corporation.
Is Acme a fictional company?
Obviously.
Okay, my bad. Sorry, I thought it was like I thought it was some kind of subsidiary of Warner Brothers or something.
No, that's the premise of this movie. It's all about Wile E. Coyote suing the Acme Corporation, and the movie's a courtroom drama. Wile E. Coyote suing Acme.
Okay. Well,
I think that's a funny idea.
It definitely could not be as bad as Joker 2 as far as courtroom dramas go.
It has to be better than Joker 2. What isn't better than Joker 2? That's a movie that should have been shelved.
Yeah.
Because beyond the movie flopping, I think it did some damage to DC as a brand.
Yeah. I guess courtroom dramas just haven't been that much of a hook on me. I mean, is there something more to this Coyote versus Acme movie than just it being a courtroom drama?
Well, it's a Looney Tunes movie, so I'm sure it's full of Looney Tunes gags. I hope.
Okay, probably the defense lawyer getting in a chase with Wiley or even Roadrunner 2 for that matter or something.
I wonder. Well, it could be funny if like Roadrunner is brought in as a prosecutor or as witness, and they put him in the seat. How Acme products affect you? And he'd be like, meat, meat.
Yeah, and Wiley is just tempted to eat him, but he realizes he has to shelve his appetite for him to calmly and decently interview the guy instead of eat him.
Yeah. Another fun fact is coyotes actually can run quite a bit faster than roadrunners can. So in reality, Wiley Coyote would have no problem catching him on a roadrunner on foot.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not realize that roadrunners were like a real bird until very recently. Somebody just pulled up a picture on their phone and showed me it. It's like the ostrich's little midget cousin.
They're not very closely related, but they do run a lot on the ground. They can fly though.
Okay.
But yeah, coyote can run quite a bit faster on the ground than a roadrunner can.
Right. I mean, they're much smaller, so it makes sense.
But no one watches Looney Tunes for scientific accuracy.
Oh, if you're expecting scientific accuracy, well, then you are just not having fun at that point.
Yeah, meat. The Coyote Roadrunner cartoons were always some of my favorites as a kid.
Although speaking of scientific inaccuracy, I gotta ask, like, which scientific I guess is a bit of a dumb question, but which scientific inaccuracy annoyed you more? The stuff and that was in The Day the Earth Stood Still, or excuse me, the Earth Blew Up, or the stuff regarding Armageddon?
Armageddon, because that's not a Looney Tunes movie.
Although sometimes it wants to try and act like a live-action cartoon.
Yeah, I love Ben Affleck in the commentary. They're like, this is where we're getting one of the logic problems. I mean, let's face it. They don't know nothing about drilling. How hard could it be? Point the drill at the ground and turn it on.
Yeah, out of all the things that probably annoyed me the most about my most recent watch of the movie, like, it's still a fun movie, but it's probably like the time constraints. Like, one moment they're informed of the asteroid that they have 18 days. Then the next day, Bruce Willis is like contacted by the U.S. government, or maybe the same day even, and then he's brought over to the United States, and like that would take like at least 2 days for him to get all the way to the United States and get informed of the situation. And within all that time, Ben Affleck was let go from his job, and he started his own like a oil field company, or a smaller scale one, at least anyways. It's like, it takes a lot more time than 2 days in order to get your own oil drilling business off the ground, for fuck's sake.
Nothing in that movie makes any sense. I mean, what universe would it be easier to train drillers to be astronauts than to train astronauts how to drill?
I have to send you Pointless Hub's review of that, because he has like, I dare not butcher the joke, but he has a little bit of a humorous tirade about how that Ben Affleck's response does not make sense according to the lore, air quotes, of Armageddon.
Yeah.
That's probably like what I like about
Ben Affleck. Asked Michael Bay that question, and Michael Bay told him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But yeah, the day the Earth blew up. I mean, I love that the alien had a plan to save the Earth, and all really Porky and Daffy did was fuck everything up.
Yeah.
That makes that movie just all the a little bit funnier.
Yeah. And plus, I don't know what it is, but I kind of like those characters in kids' movies who have a little bit of a devious or evil aesthetic to them. But when you get down to it, when you get to the nub of it, they're not that bad of a guy. People like the alien from The Day the Earth Blew Up, or Anton Ego, or Iago from Aladdin 2, for that matter.
Well, yeah, I mean, Marvin Martian was way more evil than this guy. He wanted to blow up the Earth and kill everyone on board just because it obstructed his view of Venus.
Wouldn't that make this movie more entertaining, as if there was a Marvin Martian tie-in with it? Maybe the one new alien guy was at war with Marvin Martian secretly?
Maybe. What? Just so he could do his line. Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, Bugs Bunny saved the fucking world in that cartoon by preventing him from blowing up the Earth.
Yeah. Come on. Pulp video.
Bugs Bunny is our hero. All hail Bugs Bunny.
All hail Bugs Bunny, the king of cartoons. He saved the earth. And now he's the king of the earth because he saved it.
Yes, exactly. What's up, Doc?
What the heck? Oh, sorry. A video was playing in the background on me. Yeah, I just sent you the link to the video of Pointless Hub reviewing not just Armageddon, but Deep Impact as well. How much more did you like Deep Impact than Armageddon?
Much more. It's a much better movie.
Okay. I have to give it a rewatch, but all I remember is that I don't know, maybe my man-child brain has been dumbed down with dumb action, but I still have a little bit more likeness for Armageddon than Deep Impact. More fond memories and all that stuff. I will say that the one asteroid crashing scene in Deep Impact was a whole lot more epic than the asteroid crash scene in Armageddon, where that it just plows into Paris.
Yeah. But back to the day the Earth blew up, yeah, that when they would go around the world, I'm just baffled at why they didn't take the opportunity to have other Looney Tunes in this movie. Where is everybody?
Yeah, sad state
There
of
are so
affairs.
many Looney Tunes characters that could have appeared in this movie.
It's a mild nitpick in my opinion.
But, I wonder, because there was kind of in the 90s, there was kind of a cartoon similar to this, did a Bugs Bunny cartoon that did a parody of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where these strange looking carrots are sent out. And I just kind of love that in this, Bugs, his daily routine is to meet up with Elmer Fudd, Daffy Duck, and Yosemite Sam. And when those, basically he always runs up and he always basically has to do a tango with them because they're always trying to kill him for one reason or another. And when they're replaced with the pod versions of themselves, they all of a sudden become nice and want to be his friend.
What movie is this again?
It's a cartoon from the 90s that parodied the Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Okay. Looney Tunes. Body Snatchers.
The exact name of it, yeah. But that's kind of, and I loved it when they're basically possessed by them. What's hilarious, the animation on while Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam and Daffy Duck is really terrible, and in all kinds of different ways. Like the lines don't match, they don't move properly. Like as soon as they get infected with the pod people, the pod carrots, the carrot people, whatever, it kind of makes them badly animated in kind of all kinds of different ways, which again makes it all the funnier. And when Bugs saves the world from the pod carrots, it brings them back to them both having murderous intentions towards him, because that's the way he likes it.
I'm not seeing the full movie or short or whatever of
I'd have to
Invasion
look
of the
up what
Bunny
it's called. I forgot, but it's kind of a similar plot to the day the Earth blew up.
It is called Invasion of the Bunny Snatchers, or at least that's per according to Channel Awesome's.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
I guess I'll go and save his review of that. Later.
Yeah, that was a funny cartoon. But I'm saying, so they could have done something similar and had Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd. I think could have appeared, both with gum on their face.
Yeah, imagine if Elmer Fudd was to arrive with a big ass arsenal of weapons and they were just plowing down all the gum zombie monsters in this movie.
Yeah, that would be funny. Foghorn Leghorn, I love what he would do. I say I don't like these gum monsters. I say I don't want to deal with them. Or he could possibly be spraying them with that thing. La da dum doo dee da dum doo da. La da dum doo dee da dum oh doo da day.
No, I don't. I don't want to chew your gum. I said I don't want to chew your gum. It's infected, and plus the flavor is nasty.
Yeah, there's some when they go to France. Pepe Le Pew should have been there. Maybe he could like give off his stink, and that would like cause the gum to disintegrate.
Even just a little cameo would have been nice.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess the movie was like trying to be super minimalist with its budget, so as to maybe even chance more and more of a profit, because they were afraid that they were going to suffer the modern day flopbuster effect of where that they have like a blockbuster sized budget and yet they suffer a $100 million loss.
Right. Well, I'm just glad the Day the Earth Blew Up has gotten a theatrical release. I'm glad the movie exists, and I really hope it does well. Do not see Disney Snow White. Go see The Day the Earth Blew Up in theaters. You'll have a good laugh, folks.
Yep. Oh, did you see the Snow White remake?
Fuck no. I'm not wasting my money on this shit.
Neither am I. I'll leave that to Critical Drinker.
5 more times before I see Snow White.
Yeah. The only way that I could watch that movie is if you paid me. Like, pay me $100. Then I'll go ahead and watch it and make a full review of it, or at least a short 10 minute.
I think that movie's review. Weird.
Yeah. Why be weird? Why be weird when you can be loony?
Yeah, Looney is much better. Go see the Looney Tunes The Day the Earth Blew Up. I think that's where we'll cut it short. But have a good day, everyone. That's all, folks.
Take care.
Dun 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 dun.